Yes, here we are. That's great.
Well,
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. So we are going to wait for more people, like just 2 or 3 minutes, not more. We just can't wait to show you what we were working on for a few months. Hello, everyone. Tuanaj, Jason, Sumit, Francisco. Hello, guys. So if you want, you can just drop the line where you're from, where you're located right now. Yo, India, France, Argentina, Sweden. Yeah, we are in Paris. Turkey, Greece, Pakistan, USA. It's I think it's quite representative of our users. Okay, so maybe we can start. Okay, so let's go. So thank you all for being here with us. So as you maybe some of you know because I can see like names that I know. I'm Romaric, the CEO and co-founder of Qovery, and this is Pierre, the CTO and co-founder as well. And this is our community call. So it's true that normally we do our community call at the end of the month, and we are like the 1st of July. We just delayed like for 1 week our community call because we wanted to be sure that the beta that we launched last week was good enough just to show you all of that and give you access to that. So the idea of this community call is just to share with you because maybe yeah, some of you are new and don't really know about Qovery from where we are, for where we come from, Pierre and I, how we started. So just a small story about us and the team. Then I will like get into directly the product, so the V2, obviously. So showing what's new, making you like a demo and seeing and talking about what's going on, what was going to happen next. So yeah, but first of all, just to make sure that everyone understands about Qovery, the first thing that I want just to highlight is that Qovery helps developers to deploy their application on their cloud account. It's true that we are providing like a community plan that is giving access to free resources to everyone. That's part of our way to give back to the community because at the end, behind the scene, we are using like open source project. But we are not HeroQ platform. We are not like a hosting platform. Um, in fact, what we provide is all the stack that you need to deploy your applications on your cloud account. So this is the difference between the community plan and all other like a paid plan. Our community one is a free, and we are hosting stuff, your application on our infrastructure for free. We are just asked to give back, so giving feedback and stuff like that. And our paid version make sure that you can just deploy on your own cloud account, for instance, AWS, but we are also supporting DigitalOcean and other cloud providers that will come next. In some way, you can see Qovery as a platform that simplifying you the access to your cloud account. So Kartik is saying Qovery sushi as a service. Okay, I'm reading. Maybe it's not a good good thing to do at the same time, but yeah, that's good transition. In fact, so Pierre and I, we started to launch the company in 2019. So at the end of 2019, we've been accelerated by Texas. So here you can see like a beautiful picture of two of us. We were at Dexter during this slide, and we were like writing our first lines of code. On the left, Pierre, on the right, Romain. And I'm also like a developer, so I was like writing the first version of our application. And since then, yeah. So at this time, we were about like iterating on the product. We just after the Techstar, we spent like one month to build the first version of our platform. And the 6th January of 2020, we launched the first one. And at this time, we were onboarding like more than 50 developers from multiple countries. And the fun story about that is that this is the way that we attract like our first employees. So Patrick, that were joining us at this time. In fact, he was not knowing about that, but I was talking with him because he was building like a community, so developer community on Dev2, and he was like very interested by using the platform. And he just decided to apply to one of our backend position. And this is how he just come into the company. And since then, yeah, that was just the beginning. Sorry, I was probably and since then, now we are like 18 months later. We have more than 5,000 developers using the platform from more than 100 countries. It's a bit like it's a huge progress since the beginning. If you look back just 18 months ago, but in fact, the problem that we're solving with Qovery is a very common problem for all developers. That is, at some point, you're building like an application and you know all of that. You are all developer here. You need to host your application, so you have different choices, but maybe some of them are not exactly what you need. And Qovery, we really want to give access to any developers to deploy their applications in the cloud in a very seamless, very simple way. So that's with just this little idea that we were spreading for all those months. We were working hard and hard and hard to make like the experience better and better and better, to make sure that you can just do what you love, coding, and not spending time to do plumbing stuff. Yeah. And all of that obviously will not be possible without like this great team that we were building. So after tech stuff, after building the first version of the product, launching something that was much more like an MVP than anything else, we hired, so Patrick, the first employee, and then we hired also Benjamin, Romain, Benoit, Enzo, and also Benjamin. There is another one, Benjamin. And I would like to thank them because they were like hardworking. They were working very hard during the last month to deliver this V2 version. And maybe some of you, I guess most of you know about that, but the V1 was, and I mentioned that, was like much more like MVP than a product, a final product. It was for us the best way to iterate fast, to gather your feedback and making sure that the final version that we will build will be like the good one. And I will not like enumerate all those things, but you know that the experience was not really good, even if the promise was quite high. It was buggy also at some point, so you were like doing action and it was not working like what you wanted exactly, and it was like quite slow. So that's all those problems that we wanted to really fix. And this is where it comes in, like obviously Qovery, what we call V2. So if you look at that, I'm saying that the V1 is was a product that were quite unstable, much more like an MVP, and the V2 is something that is stable but based on the same like principle. That's true. We wanted to really like differentiate those two versions for multiple reasons. The first one was the .Qovery YAML that we have removed, and also other stuff. But maybe it's better to show you like a quick demo about that. So maybe do you have any question?
There is no question at the moment on the
Great.
the chat and question.
Yeah, no worries. No worries, Jean-Guillaume, because I think it's recorded. I hope so. Actually, I didn't like look at that, but I think it's recorded, so you're safe. Okay, that's great. Okay, so yeah, I have like a few videos that you get. Maybe you have seen all of them, but so for those that don't know about that, I want just to show you like the new interface. Obviously, it's not live demo because I hate just live demo. Never works, as you know. So yeah, the idea is that we have like rebranded everything. So it's a brand new interface. We have redesigned and work on the backend. So it's like a new API. Everything is new, almost new. We just picked like a few components that we had on the V1 for the web interface, but most of that were just like completely new. So you still have like the ability to connect through GitHub and GitLab, obviously. You have still the same concept, which is organization. But the first time that you get into the product and the platform, you have to choose like an organization. It's your dedicated organization. You have the choice between like what we call a community organization or paid organization. You have a startup and an enterprise plan. For the community, or today there is only like the community plan that is available, and it's like a free hosting, so you can get access to all the features, almost all the features from Qovery to host your application. So this is what I'm showing through this video. So what we did just previously is that we created like a project. So it's my demo project. Then you have to create like an environment. An environment is where you will group all your applications running all together to make them sure that they're working. For instance, you can have like a production environment, and you can have like development environment, you can have a staging environment, so all of that. This is where I've created like a demo environment, and now I'm adding like an application. So it's a Ghost backend. Ghost is like a open source blogging project. So here you can see that I'm selecting GitHub, the repository that is listed, and I'm putting like the main branch. That's the main branch that I want to deploy. And what you can see from this interface, because I think it's quite important just to show that, is that we have completely changed. Obviously, if you are like familiar with the V1, you know how it was like a bit like squeezy. Now it's completely revamped. So the idea is that with the V1, you had to modify and you have to make like your changes through your configuration through this .qovery.yaml file. It was like a file where you put it all your configurations, like the CPU, all those things. And with this version, there is no more like .qovery.yaml file. You can configure everything from this web interface. So you never leave the web interface to make your modification and to make like your configuration of your app. So this is what you see here. So I'm adding like a port. I'm declaring the port of my applications that is running clearly. And I can even like add a domain. In the demo, I'm not showing that, but I have another video where I'm showing that. So now it's deployed. And here you can see that the application is going to be deployed. So you can see the status deploying. Running. And it's deployed. Yes. Very simple, right? Yeah. The experience is quite similar to what you can get with a solution like AeroQ, Vercel, Netlify, all of them. But the main difference, one more time, is that it's running on your cloud account. So the difference. Yeah, any question for that, guys?
One question.
Yeah.
The question is, what will happen to the application running on V1?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thanks for asking. The V1 will be accessible. So we started to make the change right now. So the V1 will be accessible through another URL. So Qovery-v1.qovery.com. And what you will have to do, because it's two separate versions. So for our business user, it's going to be, we have like some customers that are running in production. We'll take care of like migrating the application for them. But for the community one, you will have to migrate your application yourself. But they are still running.
There is another question. Do you have a timeline for when V2 will be available for public release?
Do you have timeline for when V2 will be
We can
available?
rephrase it. When
Yeah.
will V2 be publicly available?
Yeah, thanks for asking. In fact, the V2 beta will be available tonight, just after this community call. It will be available to everyone with the normal URL. So no worries about that. One
Another
other,
question.
yeah,
One more. Can we change the config after the app is deployed?
yeah, absolutely. You can now change your configuration. So when you restart your application, when you have your application deployed and you want to change the configuration, you can change the configuration. But to apply the configuration, you have to restart your application. It's not made live. Okay. Super cool. Okay.
More
And you,
question.
okay, great. Yeah, I wanted to show you also a few other things like for databases. So for instance, in this video, you will see like how you can add a database, so Postgres database. So this is what I'm showing. So we are at the environment level and you can add your database. So PostgreSQL, you have the choice between, if you look back, today you have the choice between PostgreSQL, MySQL, MongoDB, and Redis, and you have different versions. So selecting your version, then you're good to go. It's as simple as that. Then you can deploy your database and get access to your database into the environment. I'm going to go faster. Yeah. Any other question, Pierre?
Several ones. When will V2 will be forced and V1 discontinued and V2
Okay.
become the main one?
Yeah, thanks for asking. All of that will be like clarified in like a publication. But to respond to your question, we would like to move as fast as possible on the V2 and force users to go there. But at the same point, we know that some of you are running live environment for your stuff. So be aware you will be like notified when you will have to change. But it's not defined yet, but it will be probably in the within 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. Other questions here?
Do you have any plans for BYOCD CI model? So bring your own CI/CD.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for asking that. Yeah. Absolutely. We'll talk probably later on, but we plan to add like an add-on system where you can plug your own CI. For instance, if you have GitLab CI, GitHub Actions, you will be able to plug those CI to Qovery to build and run your test. And then when you're ready to deploy your application, will be handled automatically by Qovery. So absolutely, it's planned. Probably if I have to give like you a date, it could be probably for Q4 this year.
Right. Do you have a plan to support GitHub Enterprise?
Yeah, GitHub Enterprise, not yet. But if you really need to have that, I would recommend to just open and submit this ID because it's maybe something that is much more specific than the regular one. You can submit an ID to like just say, hey, I really need to have GitHub Enterprise, and then we'll prioritize your feature. What is the max size of the hosted apps? Okay, maybe I'm gonna just move a bit, and then I will respond to your question. So okay, yeah, for the database, it's over. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to now add custom domain, because if you're familiar also with the V1, you know how it was like quite hard because you had to install the CLI and do the stuff yourself. But now it's through all So things are through the web interface, obviously. So you can go to your application where you want to add the domain. You add your custom domain, you see? So ghost.hipstack.sh. And here you can see, oh, it was fast. You can see that you get the value that you have to enter to your DNS provider. So you take this value and you can just declare the DNS that you want to use. And then Qovery, what we do is that we handle like the binding of your domain with your application, and we generate and give you like provide you a TLS SSL certificate automatically. Yeah. Here I'm just showing that the domain is available through the web. And then what I'm doing is that I'm just like restarting, but I don't know, maybe we did, okay, we don't see, but I think it's already like up and running, it's still up and running. And yeah, you can see ghost.hipstack.sh is in fact hosted on Qovery and available. That's great. And one more other thing, because you were like a lot to ask for that, it was also not very obvious to get like error message from logs. And what we did is that we improved a lot the way that we show logs to you guys. So that's a very convenient feature, we know. So you get access to the application log, deployment logs, and we try on our single goal is just to make your life easier. So if you can get access to the information as fast as possible, was exactly what we wanted to do. So yeah. Any question, Pierre, for me?
Yes, but it's more technical question. What is the max size of the hosted apps?
What's the max size of the hosted app? I think, Stefan, you should like specify what kind of size, because you can have like, could be like different instances that are running all together. You can be like, what's the size? Is it the RAM, the CPU, the storage? Can you just be a bit more specific on that question?
There is no much more info, but I think if it's maybe you can talk about community side, because for business side it depends. In fact, it depends of the server you decide to take. If you take big server with I don't know 64 gig of RAM, then you will be able to boot any app with around 64 gig of RAM. So it really depends. But if the question is more for the community side, then I let Mike answer.
Yeah. So we have, we have like two offers. We have different plans. We have the community one and the paid one. On the community one, it's hosted on our site. So we provide for free resources, and it's very limited. In fact, it's just for running like a web application. It's a 1 vCPU that is available with 100 megabytes of RAM per application. But you can have like, we have the concept, and I've written like an article concerning that, explaining exactly the bidding, how bidding works, because you can get like more credits to host more applications. It's a give back way. We want to make sure that the community is involved into the build of the product, and we make everything that we can just to make sure that the people that are quite active to the community get more rewarded, and then host a bigger application. So that's the community part. But on the paid part, in fact, Qovery is running in your cloud account, on your cloud account. Then what does that mean? It means that the resources are allocated by you. You can control from Qovery. You can create like the cluster that you want with the nodes that you want, CPU, RAM, storage, everything is managed by you. And then you have no limitation, in fact. That's clear? Storage in community.
Yeah, exactly, storage.
Yeah, storage in community plan, you can have like up to 10 gigabytes per storage. Where are the servers of Qovery hosted apps located? in fact, you can have like thanks for asking, Francisco. It's your as Qovery is running on your cloud account, you can choose the region where you want to put your servers. We support AWS, DigitalOcean, and we are integrating Scaleway as well. So they are covering I would say like the whole world. It's up to you. But for the community version, we are like we provide one region today. Maybe tomorrow we'll provide like more region, and it's New York. It's New York. The community plan permanent feature of Qovery. Thanks. So Shiru asked me, is the community plan a permanent feature of Qovery? Yeah, absolutely. And we just clarified the way that we are running the community plan. I would really recommend to you guys reading this blog article explaining how the billing works. It will just give you like all the details that you need. It's very transparent the way that's working. Do you have any plans for adding the business feature for GCP and so like platforms? Yeah. Yeah, we plan to support like multiple cloud providers. It's you can see that in the roadmap. So we plan, so you can vote for that. That's what I'm saying. We are going to support like Scaleway, we're supporting AWS and DigitalOcean. And if you want to like integrate into Qovery, like you starting using specific features that are appropriately one by cloud provider, you can absolutely use them. It's not like we are not providing an interface, easy interface to integrate that today, but in the future, we'll probably do what we need just to make sure that it's very easy and convenient for you. Yeah.
There is another question, which is more for me, but is there any way to add root custom domain, so a record instead of CNAME? So it's not planned at the moment because the real problem behind it is that cloud provider can change their load balancer IP address and stuff like that. So if you want to set R rules, you can technically, but you will have some downtime as soon as they will change their IP. So because they are rotating, so yeah, you're gonna have issue with that.
Yeah. One question from, I guess is interesting one from Angelos. Thanks for asking. He's saying like you mentioned that in 18 months you had like one more 1,000 developers deploying their apps. Another 18 months the user base doubled. My point is, it may not be economically feasible for Qovery to host that kind of user base for free. Do you see any changes coming to the free plan? That's a very good question. In fact, it's exactly what we're explaining with the Qovery embedding, how Qovery embedding works. To be completely transparent, it's part of our acquisition cost. What does that mean? It means that we have like a budget that is normally allocated to make like to reach more developers and make sure that they know about the platform. But what we want to do is that it's we want to be sure what we want is that we want to reward users that are happy using Qovery. So they use Qovery and they want to host their app for free. We want to reward them instead of spending this money to like buy ads and stuff like that that are completely useless for developers. We prefer to rely on developers themselves that are liking and loving the product to spread the word, and then they get rewarded. They get more credits to host their application. That's the way we're working. We think that it's much more like valuable to them, to everyone, and it's like economically very good, and it works perfectly. Because our business model is not to make money on developers. We are like selling our solution to companies, and that's like a very good business model. Yeah. I hope it's clear for you, James. Okay. Yeah. So if we go back to our presentation, so as I told you, so the video will be like available to everyone. So it's like the deployment is in progress right now. So you will have just to connect to the regular URL, console.qovery.com, and you will get access to the new version. To get access to the earlier one, it's like console-v1.qovery.com. You will receive all the information, and it will be like spread through intercom and through the blog. Just to highlight like a new feature that we bring with this new version, it's not just like doing what we were doing with the V1. It's much more than that, because we really consider your feedback. A lot of you were asking like for supporting monorepo. So that's something that we provide today. So you can like deploy in your monorepository app. What does that mean? A monorepository app is when you have like multiple applications that are stored in the same Git repository, and you want to deploy all of them. And so you can pick your applications from the same repository, and you can deploy with Qovery now. It's working well. We also like, and I showed to you, like a juicy, what we say internally, like a juicy and efficient logs interface. Thanks to the team too, because they spend a lot of time to make like this really juicy and easy to use. That's really good, because when you have like an error, we try to highlight this error message and make sure that you get also like a quick hint to get access to the solution to solve that problem. So that's pretty good. And something that is quite important to us is that we don't want to like lock our user into something that is very specific. We just want to give you access to all the features, even some features that are not quite available today through the web interface. You can get access to the web API. And thanks to Benoit, mostly because he spent like a lot of time to work on the documentation and making sure that you get all the information. So you can use this documentation and then start to use the API right now. That's pretty good. Yeah. Any question, guys, concerning that? No question, Pierre?
Just one, which just come up. Can a Docker Compose configuration be used in V2?
Oh, very good question. Thanks for asking. That's something that we want to provide as soon as possible. I know that someone in the team like Romain started to work on that and see what he can do. But obviously that's something that you were asking much of you, like I would say at least 3 out of 10 for all the time we're asking, do you support like Docker Compose? And we consider that. So that's something that we are prioritizing. So yeah, it's planned. If I had to give you like a date, I can't. I have to see with the product team, but it will probably be for Q4. Yeah, great. So
that's it.
This is what we are going to work on next, because you get a high overview of the web interface. There's a ton of things that are undercover, but we want to provide for the next month like the environment variable management. Actually, we started to work on that through the web interface because it's available through the web API. It's going to be probably available for next week. The security management will come just after next, and because it's in fact the same elements, it's the same interface, but with a few changes, because the difference between the environment variables are all the key and the value. So the variable and the value are clear, so you can edit them and get access to them. But the secret, you get only access to the key. Once you set up like the value, it's no longer available. It's encrypted, and it's only available through your web, through your application. And obviously, that's something, it's the core feature of Qovery, but we wanted to launch fast the product, make sure that you get access, because we have a huge community you were waiting for a long time, but that's the support of deploying on your own cloud account. That's something that will come next. It will be available for probably AWS and then DigitalOcean. And that's something that we are eager to just show you. So
there is another question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where can we get? No, sorry. Regarding migration from V1 to V2, will we have migrate will we have to migrate data or nothing to worry about it, and you will handle it?
As I told you, is that the V1 to the V2 is a completely different version. So if you want to migrate, if you are running in community and you are not a business, so paid plan user, and you're running on the free version, you will have to dump your data if you're using databases, dump the data and re-inject your data into the new instance on the V2. That's something that you have to handle on your side. But if you are running on the business version, obviously we will help you to move on the V2. That's part of because it's managed services. If you need any help, obviously the community is here. We are here. We have like a forum. We have like a Discord. So we are not gonna like let you go. Just drop a message. Hey, I just don't know how to do. Can you explain? Probably we'll provide like a guide to make sure that you can just do it yourself. Yeah.
And last version we have is what are the hardware spec for app in community plan?
That's a question for you, Pierre, I guess. This one.
Yeah, it really depends. In fact, it will depend on the number of app running, because we can change the kind of node we are using depending of the needs. So at the moment, because several users have different kind of usage, more have smaller ones and other bigger ones, we decided to start small and grow up. But for the V2, as the resource will be more limited, I don't remember exactly what were the number, the limitation, Romaric, if you had in mind. But yeah, I could answer maybe with the documentation or stuff like that. But if you don't have them neither, Romaric.
Yeah, the limitation.
Yes, by default.
The limits for the community plan is like exactly what Kartik said. It's a 500 megabyte of RAM, and in fact, it's one vCPU. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, guys. That was it. So you have all the links if you want to contact us. You have my email address, obviously, and obviously we are hiring also like a creative talented engineer. We are like a remote company, so if you want to apply, just feel free. I will be happy to talk to you guys. So I hope you liked this demo and you will use like the V2. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Francisco. Thank you, guys. It was great. So see you next month, and we talk soon. Ciao, guys.
See you.